It's an hour. We're in and out today. We got Cardinal baseball early game today, 12:05. Game's on KMOX. Reason it's early is it's on Roku, but we're not worried about that. We're going to have it on the radio so you can kick back and enjoy today right here on KMOX radio, as you and your dad and your grandpa have been doing for years and years. We're going to bring you the call today. John Rooney, Ricky Horton, Mike Claiborne, Jim Jackson is our broadcast team. We have a team of producers behind the scenes and great people who put it all together, and happy Father's Day to all of them, as we have a good show packed for you today. All of our guests are live. We have Ollie Marmol, Cardinals manager, at 10:15. John Mozeliak moves up an hour to 10:30. Doug Armstrong, the Blues general manager, big week for them. He's at 10:45. He's standing by. But right now, we're going to go on the line and talk things over with Dan Reardon, who's keeping an eye on the U.S. Open. Good morning, Dan.
Good morning, Tom.
Well, the U.S. Open, it has been entertaining, that's for sure. And the reason is Bryson DeChambeau. Isn't it something? He has a 3-shot lead, by the way, over a host of players, and we'll tell you about him. But for Bryson, isn't it something, Dan, how he has kind of turned himself around in terms of the public opinion of him, I guess? He was always this figure that everybody's like, I don't know. He's not the standard golfer. He doesn't conduct himself, and he's sort of a loner in a lot of ways. Now I think everybody embraces Bryson DeChambeau, don't you?
I think he may be the most popular player in the game right now. I mean, over this 6-week period of time or 8-week period of time, dating from the Masters to the present, he's a showman, and he's not afraid to be a showman in this situation. He interacts with the crowds, he reacts to them. It's sort of interesting how that will affect him today. Bryson, we know, likes attention, and he only gets attention like this 4 times a year because he plays on the LIV tour. And so does he go out today and let the attention of the galleries influence the decision-making? We saw him yesterday on one hole tell the gallery on the tee, he said, don't boo me, but I'm going to play this iron instead of this wood, ostensibly. What does he do today? Does he play, even unintentionally, does he play to the galleries?
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I mean, and I think that he'll play with them a little bit, but he will be focused, won't he, Dan? I mean, he is some player. I mean, he hits the ball a ton off the tee. We know that. But I really think he's in this position because of not only his touch around the greens, but his putting on the greens. He is a tremendous putter.
He had a great day yesterday in erasing mistakes, even though he had the one double. And then again, that's going to be critical for all the field, and Bryson in particular. You know, I think a 3-shot lead on Pinehurst, the way it's set up, is akin to a 5-shot lead, because you're not going to make up ground on the leader as much as you're going to hope the leader gives ground back to you. And so Bryson controls that a little bit by the way he plays. And by the way, Tom, a side note that I think nobody is aware of: the most influential person in this final round of the U.S. Open is a St. Louisan. Scott Langley is now the man in charge of choosing where the holes are cut, how much water is placed on the green, and where the tees are. He took over that role 2 years ago. And so this is Scott Langley's golf course today. This is not just the players' golf course. And Scott did a great job last year at LA Country Club. He's a strategic player through his career. He wasn't a bomber. I think it'll be very interesting to see how the whole locations play to the difference between, let's say, a Matthew Pavon and Bryson DeChambeau, a strategic player as opposed to a bomber.
I did not know that, actually, that role was that prominent for Langley there. That's neat. It is a great golf course, very, very difficult. And I do think that Bryson's got to be a little careful here. Got to keep the ball in the fairway, obviously. If you end up in the native grass in one of those clumps, it can really turn a hole around. I mean, just ask Oberg or anybody else on any situation. You can see a score get away from you on one of these holes, can't you?
You certainly can, and I don't know that it's exactly a good golf course when luck becomes so much a factor on where that ball finally ends up. I said on Friday that I thought that Bryson would, and I said this on a report this morning, I think Bryson will go back to the personality that won him at Wingfoot in 2021. I think he'll play distance off the tee and say, no matter where I end up, unless I'm stuck in one of those little wiry grass bushes, I can play a wedge into the green more effectively than you can play a 7-iron into the green. So I don't think he'll go crazy, but I think he'll play to the driver because that's won for him in the past. And when he won in 2021, he came from 2 strokes down to Matthew Wolff to win that championship. So he knows how to make up ground on the golf course. He will be the person that most influences the rest of the field as the day goes on. And I guess the next player to watch is Rory McIlroy, who is playing prototypical golf for a U.S. Open. He hits fairways, he hits greens. He did it all last year, only to have Wyndham Clark beat him basically on the last few holes. He did it against Cam Smith at St. Andrews, and Cam Smith beat him in those situations. Rory doesn't get the ball close on Sundays, and if he doesn't get the ball close on Sundays, he cannot two-putt his way to a U.S. Open championship.
Right on. Anybody else, Dan? I mean, you have DeChambeau is with Matthew Pavone. You have Rory McIlroy with Cantlay. Oberg is with Matsuyama, who I think doesn't get scared of anything. Finau is way behind them. So looking at it right now, and I say way behind, but 6 shots off. He's not going to catch Bryson. Pavone is 3 back along with McIlroy and Cantlay. Can anybody catch Bryson out of that group? You mentioned Rory. Anybody else?
Well, it's easy to throw away Pavone, but he may be the manager that manages to get the job done. Mm-hmm. One of the things I always do on Sunday at a major is to look at what the field is doing early on. And right now, there's 15 players on the course at par or better, which suggests to me that there may be some scoring opportunities out on this golf course. Now, most of that field has not reached the second 9. But, yeah, I think that, we know that if Oberg can play the ball in the fairway and on the green, he can score. We know that if he misses greens, that's his weakness. And Cantlay's just a machine. And he's not been the machine that won in majors in the past. So I wouldn't expect that to be the case. I think the show boils down to McIlroy versus DeChambeau, which one handles the circumstance best. And right now, like I said, DeChambeau with that 3-shot lead is going to be hard to beat.
Yeah, I hear you. I wish they were in the same group for television purposes, but it's still great. You're right. Kuchar's 2 under for the day. Thigala's 2 under for the day. There are others as well. It's amazing to me when I scroll this leaderboard and I see that 1 over is tied for 12th in the tournament. And that's unreal. But that's Pinehurst for you. Dan, any other takeaways before we go here on this U.S. Open Father's Day Sunday?
Well, you mentioned the Father's Day. The irony of the situation is if DeChambeau, it's always the story after the win on Sunday. If DeChambeau should win, his father passed away a couple of years ago, and he's not married and has kids. Father's Day is important to him, but in a unique kind of way.
Yeah, 100%. In fact, he said to the Golf Channel I saw last night that he will be thinking about his father on every hole today as he tries to win this U.S. Open on Father's Day. Just another reason why so many are attached to Bryson DeChambeau in this tournament. Dan, thanks so much. Always love hearing your analysis and coverage of the majors, and we'll catch up with you real soon.
Enjoyed it, Tom.
Thank you. Dan Reardon, our senior golf editor for KMOX, breaking down the U.S. Open. There's a Father's Day treat for you, number 1. But before that, the Cardinals will play. They take on the Cubs at Wrigley Field. Doesn't get much better than that. Ollie Marmol joins us in 1 minute on KMOX.
What keeps you up at night? If it's a new diagnosis or an aging parent or just being home alone, our St. Louis-based ACM Care can help. Their RNs will listen to you, advocate for you, and get you through this. ACM Care is a nonprofit based right here in St. Louis. They've been helping St. Louisans for over 24 years, and they want to help you too. The first call is free. You can reach them at 314-293-0697 or acmcare.org or Google them. ACM Care will get you care.
Thanks for calling 1-800-GOT-JUNK. This is Sarah. How can I help?
I've been thinking.
What have you been thinking about?
I decided I should declutter more often because it's an important part of a balanced and healthy life.
Have you ever noticed that 1-800-GOT-JUNK has a question mark at the end of it?
Yes, I have noticed that.
We make junk disappear.
All I have to do is point.
All you have to do is point.
Can you come right now?
We're on our way.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
There's breaking news all day long from around the world, and sometimes all that noise makes it hard to hear about what's happening right here at home. With the free Odyssey app, getting your local news plus breaking news is easy. And even when you're not near a radio, stay connected with what's going on right here by listening live and push alerts. Just download the free Odyssey app and search and follow your local news station, and you're good to go. The local breaking news to get you through your day at your fingertips on the free Odyssey app. That's AUDACY.
Now the Manager's Chat, presented by Siteman Cancer Center. Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer.
And we welcome in at 10:16 live from Wrigley Field. It's Cardinals manager Oliver Marmol. Ollie, good morning. Always great to be with you. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing great. Happy Father's Day. I broadcast baseball and talk about it. You manage baseball, but the best job in the world is being a dad, isn't it? It's the best.
You ain't kidding. I'm able to have the two little girls here with me in Chicago, and they'll follow me to Miami. So I'm thankful, man.
That's awesome. I got to see my two little ladies this morning. Now they're not so little anymore, 17 and 13. They still think I'm cool, so that's important.
That's a win.
That's a big W. You're looking for a W today to win this series. As always, Wrigley Field has been quite the entertaining adventure. Let's go back first to Friday. Friday was a big win for you, and you got a big outing out of Kyle Gibson, who is on the bereavement list, and we wish him and his family the very best and all the love in the world, as they've had a death in the family. But he, before he left, put together an unbelievable start, I thought, on Friday.
He was really good, man. Had everything working and just got some really uncomfortable at-bats, just dominated every pitch. Every pitch had a purpose and looked really, really good. I thought Pages did a really nice job with him. It just, man, every bit of that outing was awesome.
Pages with the home run. Pages played a great series, actually back-to-back games, but that game in particular. What was your take on the whole moment with his family in the seats hitting a home run? Are you kidding me? What a moment for him.
That's awesome, man. And just the road to get here wasn't an easy one for him. This is a guy that's had to kind of take a look in the mirror and figure out how to really approach his day-to-day. And he made some adjustments to that and challenged himself to be able to get here. And it was really cool to see that moment and to have his family here for it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Cardinals picked up a big win, got some late runs as well to expand the lead, and they win it 3-0. Never easy, but you're able to close the door on them. And the bullpen got the job done, didn't it, on Friday?
Oh gosh, absolutely. What do you think of that wisdom ball?
I know. I watched so this morning. So this morning, someone sent me the Cubs broadcast of it, and you know, it's my man Boog Shambi. I love him. I love Boog. And
yeah.
He calls it. It's, you know, blast. I can't remember the exact call, but it's called as if that ball is going to go, and then to their surprise, to Wisdom's surprise, as he puts his hands on his helmet, Donovan hauls it in. That was unbelievable.
I thought that ball was landing in my hotel room. I mean, it was scorched. So thankfully, the wind was in our favor. That's for sure.
I was playing golf with some buddies. We had the game on my iPhone. We were watching the broadcast, and I said, "Oh no, come on!" And then Donovan, I'm like, "Oh yes, Donovan." Underneath it, it was really a special way to start the weekend. A 3-0 win over the Cubs yesterday. Look, Andre Palante is pitching great. I mean, great. There's no denying that. He looked outstanding and fired up. I know that nothing's perfect, and he probably had some things he wanted to work on. It turns out a couple of hits off of him, one of them grounded through because Mason's covering second base, and a ground ball gets through there. And then take me through that. So at what point did you decide, you know what, I'm going to go get him when this happens, when a righty is coming up, and you went to Roycroft?
Yeah, that's been his biggest nemesis is the righties. When you look at what he does against left-handed hitters, he's really good. And he's got, I mean, under 200 average and 4-something OPS against lefties. And then righties are hitting this year, they're hitting 396 with over 1,000 OPS, right? So there's a big difference there when you look at Roycroft's numbers against righties and Palante's. And yes, I agree. Palante was throwing the ball very well. He navigated some stuff and made some pitches and got hap there. You look at the Horner at bats, and this is a guy that stays on the ball really well, right on right. Hit a homer off Palante before, hit a line drive single off Palante before. Like, there's some history there. And we know it's going to be a tough day to score runs. And we try to get the ground ball double play with Roycroft, who's just better right on right. Tap her back to the pitcher, and that's it's unfortunate the way that worked out. But yeah, we like that matchup.
Sure. There's a lot going on there. Roycroft pitching at Wrigley for the first time. You know, he's got some people watching him, and I'm not saying that's a factor, but who knows? I mean, it's, you know, adrenaline's pumping, and he wishes he could have that back, I bet.
You leaving him in, Tom?
Who, Roycroft? Palante? Yeah, I will tell you, first guess, I was like, I might let him ride it out. But I can see both. This is not one of those cut and dried, and I'm sure you could probably see the other side too. The reasons for keeping Palante in and kind of letting him work it out. But you made the call based on the information that you had.
No doubt.
Yeah. So I mean, Palante has earned another shot at it, hasn't he? I mean, you think?
Yeah, he's done a really nice job.
Absolutely. So, and then, but all that said, you didn't score enough runs. You faced a good one. I mean, Imanaga has got that sneaky fastball that comes out of his hand, and he held you down for 7 innings. So you had some threats there. You got the early run, but then ultimately just not able to score. Just overall, your evaluation of your lineup. You've had some guys start to heat up. Some guys maybe have cooled off a little bit, but overall, what has been your thought on the offense?
Yeah, it'll be nice to get everybody going, and not everybody, but just a decent amount of them going at the same time. Goldie's starting to feel a little bit better. Nato is taking more aggressive swings, and we're seeing him kind of those at bats are looking different. I think we're headed in a really good direction there. Donovan is continuing to work through some stuff. You're just seeing that walk rate not as high as you're used to seeing it. And Wynn has done a phenomenal job at the top of the lineup. He just injects a lot of energy into that lineup, and I like seeing him kind of kick things off. Gorman, I know the punch outs are up there at the moment, but he's driving the baseball as well. And there's weeks he's going to feel really good and weeks where he's not. Right now he's fighting it a little bit and working on some stuff in the cage, and hopefully it carries into the game today.
You have Miles Michaelis going today. Man, talk about great outings. That guy, with everybody coming out to see Paul Skeens, Miles Michaelis brought it and actually outpitched him.
Did a really nice job. I mean, just pounded the zone, made pitches, used all his stuff. He's continuing to kind of mess with the arm angle from pitch to pitch, and you see the sinker having a little bit more depth to it in late action, and it's been a lot of soft contact against him as of late. It's looked really good.
I see Crawford in there at shortstop today and Wynn DHing. You get a stick with your man Mason to keep that offense going?
Yeah, he's doing a nice job. I think that's 9 in a row for him. So this will be 10 in a row. So giving him a day off his feet, but still keeping his bat in the lineup in order for him to be ready in Miami. But yes, he's still in the leadoff spot.
Your outfield is Donovan, Ciani, and Burleson left to right for fans who have not seen the lineup. But Carlson, my gosh, getting aggressive jumps on the ball in center field. He looked great in center.
Yeah, he did a really, really nice job. So against the lefties, he'll have more opportunity there. But Ciani has been phenomenal for us in center field.
Oh, he has been. I mean, there's no denying that as well. Ollie, we appreciate it. I don't want to keep you too long because I know we got to get you back. We got a noon start here, 12:05. Thank you, as always, for making the time for us on KMOX.
You got it, man. Appreciate it.
Have a great game. Ollie Marmol, Cardinals manager and a great dad. Here on Father's Day, as Cardinals go for a series win. We're going to take a break. John Mozeliak is right around the corner at 10:30 on KMOX.
KMOX Weekend at your service, sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Installation.
I'm Tom Ackerman with this month's Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight, and we are joined by Dr. Slade Stratton, dermatologic surgeon. What are the signs and symptoms of skin cancer?
Anything new, growing, changing. And on top of that, for sure, anything that hurts, all should be concerns that, prompt you to go see your doctor.
Special thanks to Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. For more information, go to siteman.wustl.edu.
Amy Mark scores here, and I can see clearly thanks to the doctors of Ophthalmology Associates, the doctors you should trust with your eyes. Call 314-966-5000 or youridoc.com.
Charlie Brennan with Dr. Colleen Bosler from the Audiology Center. What can people expect when they visit one of your doctors at the Audiology Center?
Expect a friendly greeting and a waiting room stocked full of refreshments. But more importantly, a patient should expect that they're treated on an individual basis. We are not retail, and we pride ourselves on our medical model. Each hearing aid is catered towards each patient's unique needs. Expect a full history intake where we get to know you and your personal needs. And then we'll complete a full battery of tests where we can adequately diagnose your hearing health. We want you to understand those results right away, So directly following your tests, we're going to go over everything extensively. Finally, at that time, we'll develop a customized treatment plan built around you as an individual.
The Audiology Center, 3 locations in the St. Louis area, 636-441-7470, theaudiologycenterstl.com.
At California Psychics, we know that when you haven't found love, it feels like everyone else has. Every movie has a love interest. Every song is a love song. Where are all the songs about cats? Well, the joy of early bedtimes. And of course, the PDA. Looking for love sucks. Thankfully, California Psychics can give you the guidance you need to help you find the one. We connect you with the very best. In fact, 98% of the psychics who apply to work with us don't make the grade. That's why we can guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. Download the app or connect with us at CaliforniaPsychics.com. Right now, new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. So you could be feeling all lovey-dovey real soon. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
This story is called The Ugly Truth About Timeshare. If you think you've done your family a favor by buying a timeshare, you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare. In the process, started what's now called the timeshare cancellation industry. The ugly truth is when you buy a timeshare, you can't tell me how much it's going to cost or when it's going to end. I recently helped a couple that had their maintenance fees go from $800 to $3,200 a year. They also received a $4,000 assessment for a hurricane that was over 1,000 miles away. Sound crazy? The crazy thing is this never ends. Call my office now. If we take you as a client, I guarantee we'll cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call for your free information kit. Call 800-329-2121. That's 800-329-2121. 800-329-2121.
Coming up, Cardinals president of baseball operations, John Mozeliak. It's 10:28. You're listening to Sports on a Sunday Morning. Back after this.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
At Onder Law, we deliver big judgments for the little guy. We've negotiated over $5 billion in settlements. Onder Law takes on the biggest industries and holds them accountable. We've won millions for victims of truck accidents, drunk driving crashes, and workers' compensation. Call Onder Law, 314 or 618-9-million. That's 314 or 618-9, all zeros.
Just imagine being walked all over for 36 years. Who would do that? The great customers of Reinhold Flooring, that's who. For over 3.5 decades, Reinhold Flooring has been the mecca for carpet, hardwood, vinyl, laminate, and area rugs. Reinhold Flooring is customer-driven with a focus on top-quality products and installations from the best team in the business. So come on in and walk all over your next flooring at Reinhold Flooring. Visit them at 5429 Telegraph Road in St. Louis or online at reinholdflooring.com.
Let's face it, planning for retirement can be overwhelming and stressful. And things like record inflation, rising interest rates, the threat of a recession, and the possibility of Social Security disappearing all feel like roadblocks to reaching that retirement finish line. All of these issues can have a major impact on your life savings. So the question is, what are you doing about it? Join the All Financial Group June 18th or June 20th for a presentation providing you with tools, insight, and proven strategies that can help you make informed decisions about your financial future and help avoiding any retirement roadblock.
Now, I've got a list of roadblocks that I have people ask me about on a regular basis. Inflation, taxes, what's going on with the election.
This event will take place at Fleming's at Frontenac Plaza. Seating is limited and you must register to attend. So call 636-230-8824 or go to yourmoneymattersstl.com. Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor.
As a roofer, spring means the start of my busy season, which means I've got to get organized. With help from Beacon, I can save time with Beacon Pro Plus and 24/7 access to live pricing, delivery tracking, order history, and more. Plus, this spring, I can earn $1,000 and the chance to win a $25,000 backyard renovation just by buying my CertainTeed shingles online with Beacon. No purchase necessary. Now that's what I call a spring cleanup. Visit BECN.com for official rules and to start earning entries.
We're the Goo Goo Dolls. We're fortunate that our daughters have what they need to grow and learn. But that isn't the case for nearly 13 million kids in the U.S. that struggle with hunger.
Childhood hunger is a heartbreaking reality that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and provides it to families and children in need.
You can help kids in need in your community by visiting feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning.
Goldschmidt swings and he hits a drive. He hits a slammer.
Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs.
Billikens win. Billikens win.
Once again, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, Tom Ackerman.
Welcome back to the show, Sports on a Sunday morning on KMOX. It is Father's Day, and we say Happy Father's Day to John Mozeliak, the Cardinals president of baseball operations. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Happy Father's Day to all. Thank you.
Absolutely. It's a great Sunday. You got the U.S. Open, Cardinal baseball. What more do you want? A lot of action going on, and folks are paying attention to the series as always. Wrigley is always a big one for the Redbirds, and you start today 6.5 games out of first in the NL Central. I know, as Tony La Russa used to tell us, it's about getting over 500, and if you can start gaining some momentum, Mo, you could be very well there as you approach midsummer.
You know, it's certainly been a struggle, no doubt about that. But I think we'd all agree over the last month or so we've been playing better baseball, and it's been fun to watch. And you know, we touch every Sunday on sort of the different elements that you have to see happen, whether it's your starting pitching, your bullpen. Clearly, one of the things that we were really struggling with early on is just our offense, and so, you know, certainly encourage what we're seeing with some people, and probably more to the point, you know, we are still banged up, especially from an offensive standpoint. And so, you know, hopefully with Contreras going to start a rehab assignment this week, very encouraged on how he looks right now. Then we're going to have Tommy Edmonds spend some time in Jupiter this week to just get a lot of different reps going from a baseball standpoint. And obviously, hopefully get Lars back by the end of the month. So a lot of things are getting closer from seeing that everyday club we envisioned back in the off season. And so I think once we see that, then we'll have a better gauge on really where we are from an offensive standpoint. But, you know, touching on sort of the calendar real quickly, is there's a lot of baseball left to be played. And so, you know, you don't win divisions or lose divisions in June. So hopefully we can get ourselves back on track and keep this positive trend going.
No, you're right about that. I mean, it is a long season. We've seen it. We've learned our lesson around here. St. Louis Cardinals have won world championships by not being in the race in the middle of the summer, and then they turn it on. Let's go back to those three. So you mentioned Contreras, Edman, Nootbaar. Those are three big ones right there. I'm particularly interested in Edman because you mentioned it to us. I believe it was the first we had heard was last week when you were on this show telling us that you could start seeing him do some things. At what point did that turn for him and for you to get him ramped up?
Well, really, it's just on how he feels and his confidence in terms of being able to push himself physically. You don't, obviously you don't want to have like one step forward and two back, because, that's just not directionally how you want to do it. And so, we were definitely taking a very conservative approach to this, but, as he's been ramping up his baseball activity over the last week and a half, his confidence level's rising. And so now it's really going to be, from a physical standpoint, he's feeling good. Now it's going to be like getting the reps to get his timing back. Obviously, he hasn't faced live pitching since last September. And so we have to recognize that. And, we're going to try to do everything we can to sort of manipulate or give him the opportunity to get as many at-bats as possible.
John Mozeliak is with us on KMOX. Andre Pallante yesterday pitched tough. He was tough. I just had Ollie Marmol on last segment, asked him to explain the move, pulling Pallante for Roycroft, and he explained it well. He talked about him facing a righty. That's the matchup that they wanted. They'd rather have Roycroft handle than Pallante, obviously, and they went with that move. As it turned out, play wasn't made, and things happened. He asked me, actually, what I would have done And I admitted, I said first guess, now not second guess, but first guess I would have kept Palante only because I don't have the information that he had. But that Palante, my eyes told me that let him gut this thing out and finish it. It's an interesting situation. I mean, I'm not like, cut and dried one way or the other, but just describing the fifth starter situation right now with Palante, you do have trust in him also, don't you, to take that next start?
I do, and I think everybody's trust in him is growing internally. Obviously, he threw the ball well yesterday, and it's a tough inning to judge, right? Like there is no perfect answer, but he didn't get that third strike call, which was enormously disappointing, and then. Obviously we ended up having the inning we had, and the stress on him was growing with each pitch after he didn't get that call. And so, the manager's obviously trying to do what he thinks is best, especially playing the matchups. And I will say that the move he made is what you would do on paper. So that's certainly what you want to follow in terms of your best percentage of having success. And well, look, he induced 2 ground balls that were probably an aggregate of 75 miles an hour in exit velocity, and unfortunately, just the play wasn't made. And so it's always hindsight's 20/20, but that inning just unfortunately spiraled on us, and in the end we were trying to play catch up, and then of course the big 3-run homer. So the game didn't go as we had hoped, but. Baseball's a unique business. It's onward and upward, and we play again here shortly.
That's true. And you had a big win on Friday, so things can move up and down very quickly. It was a great win on Friday. I mean, everything was buttoned up defensively. You had the big hits when you needed them. You had the pitching. Again, our hearts go out to Kyle Gibson, who is on the bereavement list. He's been terrific. This rotation, you told us that you are going to continue to explore externally. That still will be the case, right? As always, you're shopping around, not necessarily active at the moment, but just looking around for bullpen arms and potentially a starting arm.
Yeah, I think that's right. Obviously, those types of things are exactly what everybody else is looking for, and especially in a situation where there's so many teams that are still vying for a late September run or October run. So it's a busy market right now, and maybe I should say it's a noisy market right now, just because there's so many teams that are still believing that they have a chance. So until we get maybe a little later into July, when things maybe have a little bit clearer picture on really where teams stand, then that might be helpful. But in the meantime, we're still exploring a few things, and but overall, pretty happy directionally where the clubs are moving.
Yeah, it's pretty wild right now. I mean, as you sit this morning, you're in a playoff spot. It's June 16th, but you're in a playoff spot, a wild card spot. And as I mentioned, 6.5 out in the division and in second place. Mo, before we go, I wanted to ask about the importance of this franchise traveling to Birmingham and playing at Rickwood Field on Thursday. I know it's been talked about for quite some time, and these two historic franchises, the Cardinals and the Giants, will be a part of baseball history Thursday.
Yeah, I mean, it's an honor, first off, to have Major League Baseball ask us to participate in this, and given our history, Giants history, it's obviously something that I think both organizations understand how special it is, and I think for us, it's a compliment, because I feel like every year we're getting these opportunities, whether it was London, Little League World Series game, Williamsport. We were supposed to play in the Field of Dreams game, but COVID got us. So, I think that it's a special honor for us. I know a lot of people are looking forward to it, and that night will be something that's one that we'll probably never forget. And you think about the history of the Negro League and what it means, especially when you think about the Cardinals and their history with African-American players. And it's a steep history, and one that this organization is very proud of.
Well said, Mo. Appreciate it very much, and happy Father's Day to you and your family. I know you're a great dad, that's for sure. And I thank you.
I'm laughing because my kids might be, but thank you.
My kids still think I'm cool, so I'm in that range at the moment. Have a great day.
That's awesome. You have a wonderful day, and thank you.
Have a good one. John Mozeliak with us on KMOX 1040. Cards and Cubs today at 12:05. right here on KMOX 1110 pregame. Nate Gatter is going to bring it to you. We'll take a quick break. From one executive to another, Doug Armstrong is going to join us live at 10:45 as we talk about what has been a big week for the Blues and a big future up ahead. He'll sort it all out for us with the naming of Alexander Steen as his successor next.
Are you kidding me? You bet your britches Jerry Kelly is open. And as you might expect, we're taking this essential service thing pretty seriously. Call, and by Jiminy, a nice-smelling, good-looking, extremely articulate technician will be right over. And if that's stretching it a bit, well, we promise they will have it going on. And we promise this too. Call us, and we'll show up the same day. Yeah, same-day service calls from the Fix It Right, Fix It Fast folks at JerryKelly.com.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-700-6898. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-700-6898, 800-700-6898, or biglou.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
If you've been hurt on the job, you need the best. Onder Law. Hurt on the job? Call Onder Law today for a free review at 314 or 618-9000000.
We are heading into the make it or break it season for your air conditioning system. Comfort Solutions Heating and Cooling is a Lennox dealer, which is an outstanding brand. And Comfort Solutions has been in business for 30 years. And as I mentioned, a Lennox dealer, so they can install a brand new Lennox system with no interest for 5 years on that new Lennox air conditioner, plus a 10-year parts and condenser warranty. 24-hour service nights and weekends, 314-968-9900, 968-9900, or online at comfortsolutionsstl.com.
Is your old garage door a real clunker? Overhead Door Company of St. Louis is paying cash for your clunkers now. They'll haul away your old garage door and give you instant credit towards the new insulated door. $200 for the first garage door and $100 for each additional door. Cash in your old opener too. It's cash for clunkers now at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Convenient, free in-home estimates. Schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com or call 314-781-5200.
Hey, it's Bo for Reinhold Electric. I'm going to give you their number to put in your contacts in your phone so you have them when an emergency breaks out. Storms that hit South County on a Sunday this past month, Reinhold Electric took over 50 calls and were able to respond within 24 hours to all of them. So if you have down power lines, flickering lights, things like that, call on Reinhold Electric. And for all planned electrical needs, contact Reinhold Electric. The number 314-631-1158 and reinholdelectric.com.
What keeps you up at night? If it's a new diagnosis or an aging parent or just being home alone, our St. Louis-based ACM Care can help. Their RNs will listen to you, advocate for you, and get you through this. ACM Care is a nonprofit based right here in St. Louis. They've been helping St. Louisans for over 24 years, and they want to help you too. The first call is free. You can reach them at 314-293-0697 or acmcare.org or Google them. ACM Care will get you care.
Want to keep your gas-powered engines running like new? Stable's proprietary formulas are proven by third-party testing to outperform the competition in keeping fuel fresh, preventing corrosion, and cleaning the entire fuel system. With Stable, you can have confidence you are doing the right thing for your engine's long-term health. Just pour into your gas can or fuel tank, then top off with fresh fuel. At every fill-up or when you store, start with Stable. Available where fuel additives are sold.
For the ones who know safety isn't a catchphrase, it's a culture. And the ones who help make sure everyone makes it home safe. For the safety-minded who watch everyone's backs, Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, as well as safety assessments and training to keep your facilities safe. and your people safer. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The KMOX studios powered by Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com.
That's GetJim.com.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning.
Goldschmidt swings and he hits a drive. He hits a slammer.
Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs.
Billikens win! Billikens win!
Once again, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, Tom Ackerman.
We wrap up the show with one of my favorites, and that's the Blues general manager, president of hockey operations, Doug Armstrong. A big happy Father's Day to you. How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you very much.
It's always great to talk to you. Great to talk about the business of hockey. And boy, did you have some business this past week. It was busy over there at Enterprise Center with the announcement that Alexander Steen will take over as general manager in 2026. What has this week been like for you? Because I know how much you love the job, but at the same time, as you mentioned, you wanted to do what was best for this team. How did you sort that out internally?
Just came over time. You realize that I've been here for 16 years, 14 as a manager. I'll get another couple in as a manager to get me to 16. And then, at different points, you just take a fresh voice, a fresh set of eyes, fresh communication with the players and the staff and the fans is important. And I thought getting these next 2 years and getting this team set up in a spot where Alex can have success is important. And then, we'll head into a new generation with Alex at the helm.
When I first met Steiner, it was probably in the locker room at some point after a game or after a skate, and hearing him talk, I always found him to be to the point, very insightful about the game, and he always gathered a crowd. I felt like reporters and people wanted to be around him to hear what he had to say. It reminded me, they're not the same type of player, but it reminded me of when I covered the Rams and Marshall Faulk. When Faulk spoke, you stood and listened. He was able to summarize the game and see it in a leader's sort of way. And I feel the same way with Alex. Did you notice that about him as a player way back when, Army?
Yeah, I think it's you notice his attention to detail in practice and then in games and in preparation in the gym, how he, what type of food he ate, how he prepared. And then you just get to spend year after year after year with him like I did. And you could sense that he was different. He was very intelligent, but very driven. And I felt that he would, if he wanted to get into coaching or managing, he'd do very good at either one of those roles. And then after he retired, he and I spent a lot of time together talking about the game and about how he saw things. And it just became more and more evident that I thought he'd be a very good person to get into our organization. And then when you're transferring into hopefully another strong decade and a half, 2 decades of leadership, that he'd be a great candidate and the right person to lead the franchise.
He gets to watch and learn an additional 2 years before he officially takes over. You'll still be in the position of president of hockey operations and will be there for him. I guess the biggest hurdle for him will be all those numbers and contracts and trying to negotiate those things. That'll come with time and observations, right?
Yeah, and I think he got a little taste of that last year, and then he'll get obviously quite a bit more over the next 2 years moving back to St. Louis and being around us. I think the competitive part is going to come easiest for him. Going to games, getting a feel for the team, getting a feel for what we need, what pieces, how to place them around the checkerboard to make sure we can be a good group. And then the business side, the scouting, the drafting, the development, contracts, will come into play, but he'll have a great support staff around him. And I really just believe strongly in his character and his desire to learn, that he'll be able to pick that stuff up over time with ease and do a great job at it.
A 5-year contract for Alex Steen, and he will take over as general manager in 2026. Until then, your GM is this man, Doug Armstrong, who has guided this team longer as a GM than anyone in team history. And he is the longest tenured general manager in the NHL. You have some work to do still. And where do you see this organization right now as you embark on a 24-25 season?
I think we're in a good spot. I think when we started a transition, we put a loose timeline on it, and we're still in the middle of that timeline. We had really good play from some of our younger players. They're going to get an opportunity next year to come into training camp and try and push back veteran players and take ice time from them. And we're going to have veteran players trying to regain that ice time that they may have lost. So I think we're going to have a competitive camp. We'll keep our eye on free agency and player trades if they're available. But I see us a team of internal growth right now and pushing and building our own foundation.
It's a retooling of the organization. That's everybody has a term for it, but that's the one that keeps kind of popping up. And it seems to be, and it has to be, blanket acceptance, doesn't it? Everybody seems to be on the same page. There's a lot of harmony behind closed doors, at least from what we can tell, Army.
Well, there's always harmony in the summer. when the losses start piling up, that harmony can get into dissension. But we have a plan. We are going to stick to it. We're trying to be competitive. We want to be competitive. We think we can fight for a playoff spot and see what happens when you get in there. But we're not going to be short-sighted with our decisions. We've acquired draft picks. We have 5 picks in the first 3 rounds again this year after coming off of having 3 first-rounders and trading for another one. So that was 4 last year. So we're in a good spot. We're building our foundation, our depth, and we're going to continue down that path.
You have Drew Bannister as your coach, and back to Steen. I found that interesting how you talked about how he had a hand in that hiring and that approval once you were searching around for the next coach. What did he see? I probably should ask him this question myself, but what did you see him evaluate in Drew Bannister that he liked?
I basically, what we had as our inner circle had Scott Mellenby and Ryan Miller, Peter Shirelli and Alex Dean broke up into pairs, and they both interviewed Drew at different times. So we got about 3 hours of good video that I could observe, and I think he just believed in what he did last year. He came in and held players accountable, tried to make a standard that was non-negotiable. Every coach has 3 or 4 things that are non-negotiable, and I think Drew and Alex's perception of what those should be are concise and intact. And I think he believes that he can push and prod these guys to being better, as do I.
This is Doug Armstrong with us for just a few more minutes, and I want to leave the ending of our conversation to reminisce a little bit. This past week, it was 5 years since you won the Stanley Cup. In fact, yesterday was 5 years since the parade down Market Street. Let's start with the moments before Game 7. It's Boston. You've just lost Game 6 at home to the Bruins 5-1. You go into Boston. I feel like there was just a confidence about this team that they were going to do it on the road. How did you feel heading into that?
Yeah, I thought they were certainly tested. Starting in January, we put ourselves up against the wall, and so we always responded to difficult situations. And I thought we were a good road team, and I felt that our guys felt very good about themselves, how they were playing. Game 7's a crapshoot, but at home or the road, I don't really think that matters. So we felt we were in a good spot, and we withheld their barrage at the start. I think Binnington was fantastic that first period. I still remember the save he made on Marchand, and then all of a sudden we get 1 and 2 and get Petro, I think, gets a late one, and things just sort of go our way. And it was a very exciting night, obviously, as the score grew and grew. The comfort level of what might happen became more and more realistic.
What stands out to you of that on-ice celebration? What do you remember?
Just sort of taking it all in and seeing how I really enjoy watching players' families interact with their kids, their sons, wives, or whether it's the wife or if they have young family, mostly the mother and fathers reacting with their sons on the ice, reaching their ultimate goal of doing it. And it's not like we had a lot of players that had done that before, so that was the first time. That was a genuine first-time experience, and that's what I just looked at. A dad and a son celebrating those, remembering those 6 a.m. practices and those long bus rides and all those things culminating in what you always dream of as a Stanley Cup.
And you won it, and you took that cup on a plane and brought it back to St. Louis, and the party was on. It went to various locations, O.B. Clark's, and on it went. And then it made its way down Market Street. I had Tom Stillman on last week, had Pat Maroon on last week. They both said the same thing. Even all the imagination of what that parade would have looked like, it was even bigger and bolder than they could have imagined. What was it like for you?
Yeah, it was. It was just the how deep they were along the sides and hanging out of buildings and things like that. It was very impressive. I think that it'd been a long time coming, and people would tell me that you won't believe what would happen if you're able to win here. And I think everyone says that. Everyone thinks that, but just that the time it took us to get through the parade, I look back on it, and we were pretty late on a lot of things we did that day for television and things like that. But I wouldn't change it for the world. To see our players interact with their fans was unbelievable. And you don't see that on the footage, but now I see it in looking back on it on film. That when you're in it, you can't see that, but just seeing Binnington and Pat and all those guys just celebrate with the fans was just really special.
It was one heck of a day, and in some ways it's still celebrated. I mean, it is still felt throughout the community, and you and your players and everybody involved at that time will be forever connected. We appreciate your time very much. Thanks for doing this for us on Father's Day, and best of luck to you, and congratulations on a big life decision and organizational decision moving forward with Alexander Steen.
Well, thank you very much for having me on. Have a great summer, and a happy Father's Day to everyone.
Always great to talk to Doug Armstrong, the general manager of the St. Louis Blues. Well, folks, we are going to turn things over to Cardinal baseball. The Cardinals have a pregame at 11:10 with a 12:05 first pitch at Wrigley Field. Enjoy the day, and happy Father's Day from KMOX.
Thanks for calling 1-800-GOT-JUNK. This is Sarah. How can I help?
I've been thinking.
What have you been thinking about?
Decluttering.
And what did you decide?